Hello, my name is Madeleine Williams and this is my PSY4402 research project presentation. Dr. Tia Cummins is my supervisor who's investigating what factors make an individual more resilient to stress and ascertain if this resilience then correlates with cognitive capability. My area of focus is to look at personality and resilience. And specifically, I'll be looking at, do introverts and extroverts have different arousal levels? Do extroverts manage stress more easily than introverts? And are extroverts more resilient due to their capacity to manage stress? The background literature covers three areas. Personality and arousal is the first, and Ising proposed that the theory that personality is derived from different biological compositions. So what he was looking at was basically extroverts and introverts having high or low levels of physiological arousal, and then this informing basically if an extrovert has low level arousal, they seek out more stimulation, whereas an introvert may have high level arousal and seek to reduce that by having less stimulation. So therefore maybe have different capacity to manage stress. Evidence suggests by Sharma that high IQ extroverts are more able to relax than introverts. Fink and Norba in 2007 found that processing and creativity in the frontal lobe is best when the arousal level is low, and this makes sense. Obviously, it's well documented trauma and stress are encoded in the limbic system, so we tend to think more abstractly when we're relaxed, whereas we tend to be more in fight-flight stage or more, I guess, having encoding in the hippocampus memory system for trauma. So there's a good biological basis for personality and stress. Personality and resilience. So resilience is defined as a person's ability to positively adapt to adversity, looking at autonomic reactivity, developmental difficulties, and how somebody, for example, responds to external stresses. Kim Cohen found that a construct that is inferred from two other constructs, so risk and adaptation, and this makes sense in the sense that if we have risk, then we can have resilience. Without any risk, then somebody can't really demonstrate that they're resilient. There's a conflicting pool of evidence in these different concepts. For example, Luciano found that introverts have high nervous system arousal but outperformed ambiverts in cognitive ability testing. So this contradicts Sharma's earlier research from earlier in the presentation that suggests that high IQ extroverts manage stress best. So would likely have low nervous system arousal based on Ising's theory. Ultimately, I'm looking to explore this and find another piece of the puzzle to sort of see if low arousal level extroverts are more resilient than introverts, and part of this might be able to be explained by how they respond to stress and how they relax. And this is important because if we can demonstrate that extroversion predicts resilience and maybe explain that by how they manage stress or what their baseline arousal level is, there are far-reaching implications, particularly in terms of org psych and recruitment for organisation, for example, lawyers, emergency doctors or emergency services, military, where jobs are inherently stressful and people might be exposed to high levels of traumatic material. The research is innovative, I think, because it pulls together fields from physiology, neurophys, psychology, and applied social science. And if there's a significant finding, it opens a large scope for future research. And this research might actually protect people from entering careers that they might not be able to cope with. And indeed, employers, it might save them money if they can screen out who may not be appropriate candidates for different roles. So I'm planning on doing, in terms of design, experimental design, quantitative research, a within groups model, looking at different individual differences, and this will be done with a multiple regression to try and explain, I guess, the interaction between two variables and how much weight is based on, for example, the perceived stress score, arousal level, or introversion, extroversion level. The psychometrics we've chosen so far are Hexico, Connor-David, resilience scale, perceived stress. We're still actually looking at which measure of arousal to use. And the participants will be at least 18 years of age, hoping to get about 300 just general urban civilians with no extra criteria. And where the research started, or the proposal started, and it started this teaching period, 3rd of May 2019. It's anticipated to finish at the end of teaching period 1. The recruitment for the past mentioned participants is convenient sampling and snowball recruitment. So friend of a friend, just to get as many participants as we can. And here's a list of those references that I've gone over in my literature review or literature sample. And I hope you enjoyed. It should be really interesting. Thanks very much.